Hey friends, it's Jennifer. I hope you guys are doing well. In today's video, we're going to take this piece of water acrylic paper here. You can see it's kind of thick, and we are going to make a background on it with some paint and other elements to hopefully match these clusters that we made in the previous video. And I will link that video up above if you want to see how we made those. But first I'm going to start with some acrylic gesso, just white, and my paintbrush. And I'm just going to smear it all over the paper here, get it as much as I can in the nooks and crannies. The gesso will help the paint and other things that we use on the paper to adhere better. It gives the paper some grip, and it allows anything that you put on the paper product-wise to hang on to the paper better. So I'm just going to use this yellow paint here, and I'm just going to take it and I'm going to just drop it onto the page. No rhyme or reason, just drop some drops on there, and then I'm going to take my paintbrush and just smear it into the paper. Again, no rhyme or reason. This is my favorite kind of thing to do because it doesn't require a lot of decision making or anything like that. You can just put the TV on and watch TV or videos while you're doing this, or listen to music and just paint it on there. And you can see here that I didn't get all of the white out, but I did go over most of the page there. And I'm going to dry it with my heat gun. You can let it air dry, but that's what I chose to do. So I'm going to take some orange alcohol ink, and I'm just going to put some drops down on the paper. Again, no methodical reason, just putting it down. Now I'm going to take some crimson alcohol ink. I got these inks in the artist section at Hobby Lobby, and I'm doing the same thing, just dropping some down. And I'm going to take a blending solution for alcohol inks and some water that I have in a spray bottle and my heat gun if I need to use it. And I'm just going to drop some blending solution on there. And I'm going to pick this paper up, and it's running pretty good. So it's doing good, but I'm going to add some water on there to help it run more and blend more. And sometimes you need a heat gun to do this if you don't spray enough. In my case, I didn't have to use it like that. So I didn't use the heat gun, but I had it there just in case. So I'm just, kind of smashing it together there. Now I'm going to take my next favorite thing, which is bleach water. Just take a little bit of bleach and put it into a spray bottle with some water. And I just spray it in spots on the paper. And I left this part of the video up so that you could see how it lightens up some places. It doesn't do anything major, but you can see that it does lighten up in the places that I sprayed. I'm just cleaning off the excess water ink overspray there that oversprayed, and I'm letting you just kind of see the difference between that. And so I've got some green alcohol ink, and I'm dropping it onto the paper here, and I'm just spraying it with some water and allowing it to run on the page. And I'm going to take my paper towel and just blot up the excess there, the excess water. And I'm going to dry it with my heat gun. Now I'm going to take some more white acrylic gesso, not a lot, and I'm just going to barely hit the high spots on this paper, not really doing a certain specific area full of white gesso, but just the brush is sort of dry, and I'm just sort of brushing the white gesso on and just kind of blending it in, and that helps to soften some of the harder spots. And then I'm going to go back in with the yellow paint and just do the same thing, barely skiff the top of that white gesso to make it not so bright. And now I'm going to lay out these clusters that we worked on in the last scraps video just to see what colors. And this turquoise color is the only color that I don't see in this that I would like to add. So I'm just going to take some turquoise looking paint. It doesn't necessarily match it, but it's close enough. And I'm going to do like I did with the gesso and the yellow paint. And I'm just going to go in there and just barely touch, just kiss the top of the paper with this turquoise paint color on this side and the other side, and then is in the middle as well, and just use it to kind of blend it out, just to make all of these colors kind of go together. And I know it doesn't look like art. It doesn't look, it looks like a hot mess, which most of my projects do. Until they all come together. And, you know, it's art. It's your own piece of work. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it and it would be great. But it's not. It's hard. It's hard to make your own things what you want them to be. So here is my pieces, and the paper looks like a hot mess, but now I have all of the colors in that I want to go with these clusters. And so now we're going to work with this to make the actual pieces. And so I'm going to take a ruler and I'm just going to tear this watercolor paper here just in strips. Usually when I make clusters, I make them with several sheets of paper. You can see this is a different piece of paper. This is an old deed paper that I just tea-dyed. It was a copy paper. It's not an actual deed, obviously. But it's copied, and I like the writing on it, and I just tea-dyed it. And so now you can see me just tearing down the edges of this piece of paper because I'm going to use it in my cluster, and I'm just trying to figure out exactly where I want these pieces to go to look good with the clusters. And I like this combination, and so that's what I tend to do with most of my clusters, is take several different papers to put with them, and this is no different. So you're going to see me go through here and just try to figure out what I like with what in what direction, and that's what I'm going to do here. Okay, now I'm going to ink all of the pieces together. Not together, but separately before I put them together, because once you glue them down, it will be harder to, I mean, you could, but it would be harder to get into all of those spots and ink them up. So that's what you're going to see me do here, is go through and ink all the pieces separately. The clusters, the squares of the scraps that we already made, I already inked those. But the new paper we made today and the um, tea-dyed copy paper there, that's not been inked. So I'm going to ink all of those before we put them together. Now you're going to see me take my school glue here, and my glue is always a little bit runny. I'll add water to it just because I don't like the thick consistency. So I just add water to the bottle and shake it up, but I'm just using regular school glue or regular glue that's in the bottle, and I'm just gluing these down, and I'm going to use some sewing clips to hold them in place while they dry. They shouldn't take long to dry, but I'm just going to do that here, and that's what I'm going to do is glue all of these pieces together. And so now I'm going to add some other little pieces to it. These are circles and one rectangle. If you've watched this channel, you know I love circles. I love making my own circles and stamping them. That's usually the first thing that I do. And I have a lot of circle stamps, and I have a lot of circle punchers. And so that's the first thing that I gravitate towards. And so I have picked out circles that I have stamped with ink previously. And now I'm just realizing here this is why you ink before you do anything. So I'm going to go back and try to pull these off gently. They shouldn't be dry, but I'm going to go ahead and ink those as well. You'll want to ink things before you nail them down. You can ink them after you put them down, but again, like I said, it's going to be hard to do. So anyway, I gravitate towards circles, and that's what I used here, but I did pick out another rectangle piece that I printed out on my printer. Um, I use my printer a lot. I will print out quite a few things on it and then take a frame stamp, like a label stamp that's just the frame part. You can get those on Amazon, and then I will frame around them um, or use them in that way, and I'll tea dye them up. But anyway, so this is tea dyed paper that I cut into circles and stamped on them with stamps, and then the blue piece of paper at the end that says registered. It's something that I print off on my printer, tea dyed, and blocked around that. This one is just a purple piece of scrapbook paper that I had tea dyed and cut it out with a hole puncher. It's a bigger piece, but I liked it with this one. So, and here's the registered piece, and I'm just going to ink around it. These are all ephemera that I have made, and so I'm just using those to accent them a little bit. And now here they are. I'm going to show them to you piece by piece, and I love the way that these turned out. They are completely, made from scraps. The watercolor paper obviously wasn't, but I will use that for other projects as well. But I love the way that these turned out right here. You can see they're nice and colorful, and I like to use those in my journals. So I hope I've inspired you to use some of your scraps and make some pieces for your journals as well. I'll see you the next time.